Welcome to Traveling with Francoise as we drive through California's Mojave Desert on our way to Las Vegas. We'll take the back roads and see so many different points of interest, beautiful scenery. You never know what we'll discover. So let's get back in the car and get going.
Hey, want to travel? I'll take you there. Want to dine? I'll tell you where. Play golf? I'll pick the spot and I light it. I know it's hot. It's never too late to get a life.
Get your maps ready because we'll be going through Kelso, Amboy, and parts of Route 66. And the reason I like going this way is a lot of them. First of all, the scenery is incredible. You don't know what you're going to stumble across. Second, it can cut almost an hour to hour and a half, depending on where you start, on your way to Las Vegas, Nevada. We've left the city, the Coachella Valley and 29 Palms behind us, and we're now out in the desert. And what you're going to see spread out throughout this area called Wonder Valley and beyond into the Mojave Preserve are these Jackrabbit Homesteads. What's a Jackrabbit Homestead, you ask? Well, it's land that was deemed useless by the federal government back in the late 30s and early 50s. It was sold to recreational users for $10 to $20 an acre. The sole requirement was that the applicant proved up the land with a small house. However, with no water or electricity readily available, many original homesteaders abandoned their cabins after just a few years. Why the name Jackrabbit? Well, it was once noted by a writer that the jackrabbits would use the shade from these cabins to avoid the desert sun. Today, there's about 2,500 deserted cabins throughout the basin. As you're coming over the hills and down into the valley, you'll notice a big dry lake bed in front of you. On one side, you'll see lava-covered hillsides. On the other side, you'll see flat grounds covered with this white substance. Is it salt? Is it chloride? I don't know, but you'll also discover these beautiful crystal bluish green canals. So we're going to find out at our next stop what's really happening out here in the middle of the Mojave Preserve. But first, Bristol Lake is a dry lake bed in the desert near the Mojave National Preserve. The lake is still actively mined with 60 million tons of salt in reserve. The surface of the dry lake is composed of sand, clay, and gypsum. The lake is covered by a few inches of water in the winter, but for the most part, it's dry and very salty. Here in the middle of the Bristol Dry Lake Bed is the National Chloride Company of America. It is not open to the public, but we get to go inside and see what takes place here, what do they do, and perhaps answer the question, where does our salt come from? Joining us is David Oceaner. He's the general manager here on the property. Hi, Dave.
How you doing?
It's great to be here. This is really exciting. I love going the back roads to Las Vegas, and I always pass this business and I wonder, what the heck do you do here? So before we find out how you do it, let's find out what you do.
Okay, what National Chloride does, we're actually after calcium chloride, which is a natural product. It's used in, most people know it as dust control, hardened concrete, but also it is in food products. As we see here, this is our tech grade, which is our natural product. That's the way it comes out of the ground after it gets concentrated. And then we have another type, which is a food grade, which we treat it to get the pH up to neutral, which that goes in the food market. For canning industry, brewing industry, cheese industry, some pharmaceuticals.
Are we talking about salt?
Salt is a byproduct of the calcium chloride. See, the process, I know I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but the process is we pump a weak brine, or some people call it a hypersaline brine. It's the same thing. Mm-hmm. And we pump that into an evaporator, let the sun evaporate, which the sodium drops out first. So that's where we get the byproduct, and the calcium chloride stays as a liquid state. And we sell it as a liquid.
This is a year-round operation.
Yes, it is.
A year-round operation.
Yes,
how large is the facility here? Because I look around and I see tractors over there, and I see mounds, I see white, I see water, I see crane back there. How large?
We have approximately 22,000 acres.
So underneath us is a big lake.
Yes, yes. It's an old, ancient sea, really.
Oh. All right, well, I'm ready to hop in the Jeep. We're going to take a Jeep, we're going to tour the property, and Dave here is going to explain everything to us. I can't wait.
Well, hopefully I get everything right. You notice all the white on the road. This is all salt out of our evaporators. It's all solar salt. And what we do is we put this on the road so when it rains, you can still drive on it. Otherwise, it gets so muddy out here. As you can see through some of the tire tracks, it's so muddy you can't get around out here. All what you see here on the right, this is all solar salt out of our evaporators. We store it here, and then when we get back over, I'll show our screening plant. But we do sell this in the feed industry.
All right, well, Dave, now all this white that's scattered around us here on the ground, this is
all solar salt
This is
at one
solar
time.
salt.
Now what you're seeing here is the salt that came up and then it evaporated and turned. This is actually salt.
all right. So the white we see out there is salt.
Yes, it is.
All right, that's worked its way up from under.
Yes,
all right.
we have no alkali here. So what you see is salt.
What if a person put their finger on that and put it in their mouth?
It's salt.
It's just salt.
It's just salt.
All
yeah.
right.
It's salt.
Okay. Should I do that?
I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend
well, I'm
it.
tempted. I really want to. Is there a place where I can assist?
When we get over to where our screening plant stuff,
Okay.
you can taste the
I
salt
wanna
over
taste
there.
it. All right, I
and
want to taste it.
it's real salty.
Oh, it's very thick.
Oh yeah, see here?
Uh-huh.
And that's used in cattle feed, mostly in cattle feed. We sell to a couple different entities that buy for cattle feed, and it's screened. It's a good-looking salt. It's like I say, it's 99% pure salt, which is pretty good.
I can see some of the crystals in it. So after you mine it, I'm going to use the word mine it. Is that
exactly
the
right.
right word?
That's exactly
then you
the
bring
right
it and put it in these piles?
Now we stockpile it like right over there,
Okay.
or over here. Now over here, the machine you see over here is a crushing plant. That will crush 100 tons an hour probably. I mean, it'll go through it faster than the machine can go. It goes in this hopper. This is a feed belt. This pushes the belt onto that one, and then up on top there's a screen,
All right.
which sits there and shakes real good.
Yeah.
And the big peak particles fall off. The stuff goes through the screen, gets stacked right
And then
there.
we have salt.
Then we have our cell product.
Our cell product right
Our cell
there.
product, correct.
So this pile right there,
That's
right
ready
in front
for
of us,
sale.
that's ready for sale.
That's ready for sale, correct.
All right.
And right there, there's probably 75 ton.
75 ton.
75 to 100 ton right there right now. But like I say, it all starts out of these ditches over here, these collection ditches.
Really is so interesting. You have no idea. We could spend all day here, but we don't have all day. So Dave, we need to move on to our next stop.
Let's keep going. Okay, what we have in the background here is my operator Jesse. He's on a 613 scraper. He's actually harvesting the salt that we make throughout the year in the manufacturing of calcium chloride. He's just about full. Well, he's gonna have to shut down and get out of there. But this machine, as you can see, it actually scrapes and picks up the salt and puts it in the bowl.
Okay, so why is he not sinking because of all the water underneath
It's
it?
very, very hard. This is a piece of halite. See how like glass that is?
Oh, sorry, I'm
That's
so looking
okay.
at that. It looks like a big old rough diamond or that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me break some of it up so you get a good clean piece.
This is so exciting. Now this is,
That is halite or
all
rock
right,
salt.
this is
Commonly
rock
known
salt.
as rock salt.
look at that. So now this, I can taste.
That's pure salt.
All right.
And it's salty, correct?
It tastes just like salt. I have to save this. This has been fascinating.
You can take that home with you. I
Thank
mean,
you
you take all that home. If you
so
want the whole
much.
bit, you can have it all.
Oh, boy.
It's not like we don't
My
have any.
souvenir. Yeah, you have plenty
we have
here.
plenty.
Well,
and you've seen the difference between this and the solar salt.
wow. Really, Dave, thank you so much. This has been fascinating.
Oh,
now
you're
when people
welcome.
drive by, they're going to have just a little bit
more knowledge. Yes.
of knowledge of
Yes.
what happens here
Yes.
at the National Chloride Company of America. Remember, it's not open to the public, and Dave here is working really hard and busy all the time with how many crew member again here?
We have 4 plus myself.
4 plus 5 guys working it out here. And how large area?
20-some thousand acres.
20-some thousand acres. So you heard it.
And you should come in July when it feels real good out here.
We'll be back. All right. Thanks so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Once you're back on the road, don't be surprised to see clouds of dust, military aircraft, and vehicles way off in the distance as training exercises are held deep in the desert landscape by the Marine Corps' Air Ground Combat Center 29 Palms and the Marine Air Ground Task Force Training Command. In fact, during the height of the war in Afghanistan, soldiers from Fort Irwin National Training Center conducted training exercises in an area of the Mojave Desert that looked just like Afghanistan, with a recreated village of houses, shops, a mosque, and a marketplace.
Simple, safe, secure. Your home, your business, your life. Protected 24/7 by Command One Security, the trusted local experts. Command One Security offers fire, burglar, and medical protection with remote access for control on the go. Our competitively priced quality products use the latest technology. Get free conversion for most existing systems and 3 months free monitoring. No landline required. Simple, safe, secure. Command One Security. Visit us online for options and special offers.
This portion of Traveling with Francoise is brought to you by Command One Security, covering the entire Coachella Valley. Indian Ridge Country Club in Palm Desert. Love where you play. Diane Williams and Associates. Trust experience, experience trust. Welcome back to Traveling with Francoise. After seeing the salt-covered landscape, it's not hard to believe that in 1858, Amboy was founded by miners who were harvesting the salt from the dry lake beds, and through time, Amboy was once an important stop along the world-famous Route 66, marking the final night of many cross-country travelers before arriving in Los Angeles. We've made it to Amboy, and it's hard to believe that about 50 years ago, this area was home to about 700 residents. Not today. Of course, the historic Route 66 crosses right through Amboy, and the famous Roy's Cafe and the hotel behind us can still be seen. One thing you have to remember when you're going the back roads to Las Vegas, that the gas station here at Roy's Cafe is the only working gas station in the area. So if you're going to fill up, you need to do it here in Amboy. So we're going to go and talk to the person who owns the town. Yes, he owns the town of Amboy. Joining us now is Albert Okura. He is the owner of Amboy. The owner. How are you?
And the mayor also.
And the mayor. Okay. Well,
I like the mayor.
It's nice to meet you, Mayor Okura. All right. You can't go through this area without stopping here and just looking at the old hotel, perhaps getting a snack or two. And you have something on your vest here that says the Chicken Man.
I'm the Chicken Man.
And why are you the Chicken Man?
My business is Juan Pollo Rotisserie Chicken. I've been in business since 1984, and my second main store happens to be on Route 66. And when I came to San Bernardino in 1986 to open my second Juan Pollo, I didn't even care about the route, because I grew up in Los Angeles, but nobody cared about the route in the 70s. And then there's the Route 66. I'm on Route 66, and in the 80s, big revival of the route. Mm-hmm. And then 1998, I ended up buying the site of the original McDonald's in San Bernardino, and that is on the route. I established a free McDonald's museum. Now we have the most visited McDonald's museum in America.
Wow.
And because of that, I met other Route 66 people. And then when this town came up for sale, they told me to buy Amboy. I said, well, what's Amboy? I never heard of Amboy. You know, and here I am, a native Californian, and I never heard of Amboy. None of my friends ever heard of Amboy. But had I not opened the McDonald's museum, I wouldn't have met these other Route 66 people. And the town came up, I jumped, I bought the town.
What made you want to buy Amboy?
It's always been a dream to own a town. I think it's everyone's dream to own a town. So the deal popped up, I took action, and I became the owner.
All right, how long have you owned Amboy?
I ended up purchasing Amboy in 2005.
2005. Okay, now it's very historic. We see around here Route 66 crosses right in front of Roy's Cafe, the old hotel. What were your plans when you purchased this town? It is a town, considered a town?
Well, yes, it's considered a town. It's not legally a town, but we're considered a town. We have all the buildings and facilities necessary to be a town. We have post office, a landing strip, hotel, this cafe. We're not open. The cafe's not open yet, but the gas station is open, post office is open, this Catholic church, and so it has all the makings of a regular town.
How many residents are in Amboy?
We have, I think, 5 people.
5 people? Okay. Well, then it must be pretty easy being mayor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, pretty easy. Obviously, right now, the cafe, you sell waters and sodas and snacks and things like that. You do have plans to open the cafe again as a full-fledged serving hot meals?
Right. It's a matter of I have to get the right permits to get the whole town really up to code. Because I found out Amboy is built without any permits.
Oh.
And in the old days, they were just free to do whatever they want. So if I want to go further, I need to get up to current standards and reapply on everything.
Well, every time I drive the back roads to Vegas, I always stop here in Amboy just because it's fascinating and because Route 66 goes by. About how many people do you think come into the shop here every day?
Well, we don't really count, but in spring and summer and fall, we get tons of tour buses, sometimes up to 3-4 buses come at a time. And each one has maybe 45 people. So then just regular travelers living in Palm Springs, Palm Desert.
Right.
This is a shortcut into the river, to Laughlin, to Vegas. And so we get a lot of travelers in the Marine Base in 29 Palms. If you're visiting you have someone in the Marine Base, you have to come right to Amboy if you come from other states.
Well, you can't miss it. It's world famous. And I do want to stress that how long have you been selling gasoline here? Because this is your only stop between here and Vegas.
Well, we've been selling gas, I think, about 5 or 6 or 7, 8 years. I can't remember, but what we did, when I'm proud of it, we kept the original pumps.
What a story. Now I see it looks like the original cash register is still here. You do have some original items that are here?
Well, when I bought the town, there's some things that were still here. Now, when they were used, I don't know, because like I said, before 2005, I really never really heard of Amboy, so I'm piecing this together myself, and all I know is that I have the opportunity to keep the town intact and pure. Because a lot of people ask me, will I ever put a Wampoyo here? I said, no, I have to keep it pure the way it was.
Right. Well, we admire you for that and we appreciate it because it really is. Again, you said you don't want it to be a tourist trap, but it is an attraction on its own. Regardless what you do, Amboy is always going to be an attraction with Route 66 out in front.
The crater, an extinct volcano, and its surrounding lava field can be seen for miles as this huge black object rises from the valley floor. About 2.5 miles southwest of Amboy, the crater is a popular tourist attraction. Visitors can traverse up the Western Cone Trail on lava estimated to be about 6,000 years old. From the road, you can see where the flow of its lava stopped at the lake's edge. After leaving the crater, we hop back on U.S. Highway 66, popularly known as Route 66. It's significant as the nation's first all-weather highway linking Chicago to Los Angeles. Route 66 is not America's oldest or longest road. Nevertheless, what sets this segment of National Highway apart from its contemporaries is that it was the shortest year-round route between the Midwest and the Pacific Coast. Route 66 reduced the distance between Chicago and Los Angeles by more than 200 miles, which made Route 66 popular for decades among thousands of motorists who drove west.
Between Amboy and the Kelso Visitor Center, if you look to your right, you'll see the foo dogs. And it is carved stone. They're beautiful carved animals. There's two of them, a male and a female, and they're spread very far apart. Rumor has it, or legend has it, the foo dogs, they are guarding the property out here in the desert. They are desert guardians. And you can see that people stop here and pay homage to the foo dogs by leaving coins and all sorts of trinkets. So don't be surprised when you see foo dogs out in the desert.
I always recommend stopping at visitor centers, and the only one you'll find along this route is up ahead.
So here we are at the last stop before we go through the Mojave Preserve and get back onto the 15 freeway. We're at the Kelso Visitor Center, which used to be a train depot, which opened in 1905. It served all the employees on the Union Pacific in this area because the train would stop here and let passengers off because they weren't in dining cars. So there were restaurants, a post office. This was a thriving town. What I'm standing in right here is the actual gel cell that dates back to the early 1900s. I'm going to leave this gel cell and we're going to walk back over here to the actual old train depot and the visitor center. It's a must stop, a must see. We're going to go take a look inside. They have the old ticket booth in there and just really takes you back in time.
The first depot at Kelso opened in 1905, followed a few months later by a post office, an engine house, and an eating house to serve both railroad employees of the Union Pacific and the passengers on trains without dining cars. The town grew over time as more employees were needed and more of their families moved to the Mojave Desert to join them. Over time, in a new restaurant and telegraph office, the boom continued to the 1940s, when Kaiser's Vulcan mine caused Kelso's population to grow to nearly 2,000. However, the boom ended, and with the closing of the mine, the depot function ended in 1962. The Kelso Depot was renovated and reopened in 2005 as a visitor center for the Mojave National Preserve. During the season, about 600 travelers a day stop at the visitor center. Former dormitory rooms contain exhibits describing the cultural and natural history of the surrounding desert. The baggage room, ticket office, and 2 dormitory rooms have been historically furnished to illustrate life in the depot in the first half of the 20th century. This is also a great restroom stop before crossing more desert. About 7 miles south of Kelso Depot, then 3 miles west on a graded dirt road, Kelso dunes were created over the course of 25,000 years by winds carrying sand grains from the dried Soda Lake and Mojave River sink. Nearly 700 feet high and covering a 45 square mile area, the Kelso dunes produce a booming or singing sound when sand with the right moisture content slides down the steep slopes. Try it for yourself. Run down a dune slope, but don't trample vegetation to initiate the sound.
Simple, safe, secure. Your home, your business, your life. Protected 24/7 by Command One Security, the trusted local experts. Command One Security offers fire, burglar, and medical protection with remote access for control on the go. Our competitively priced quality products use the latest technology. Get free conversion for most existing systems and 3 months free monitoring. No landline required. Simple, safe, secure. Command One Security. Visit us online for options and special offers.
This portion of Traveling with Francoise is brought to you by Command One Security, covering the entire Coachella Valley. Diane Williams and Associates, trust experience, experience trust. Indian Ridge Country Club in Palm Desert, love where you play. Welcome back to Traveling with Francoise.
Mojave National Preserve is vast. At 1.6 million acres, it is the 3rd largest unit of the national park system in the contiguous United States. Various types of roads cross the preserve. Many are unpaved and lead to old settlements, springs, water wells, and dozens of mines. Some still in use, but most are abandoned. Natural features include the Kelso Dunes, the Marl Mountains, and the Cima Dome, as well as volcanic formations such as Hole in the Wall and the Cinder Cone lava beds. Surrounded by a sea of hardened lava flows, these little volcanoes, or cinder cones, began erupting into existence 7.6 million years ago. Lava last flowed just 10,000 years ago. Abundant and well preserved, these geologic features were designated as Cinder Cone National Natural Landmark in 1973. The preserve encloses Providence Mountain State Recreation Area and the Mitchell Caverns National Preserve, which are both managed by the California Department of Parks and Recreation. Impressive Joshua Tree forests cover parts of the preserve. The Cima Dome and Shadow Valley Forest are the largest in the world. The Mojave Preserve is a wonderful experience for outdoor enthusiasts, offering camping, hiking, and equestrian trails, plus 2- and 4-wheel drive unpaved roads. Developed year-round campgrounds are hole-in-the-wall and mid-hills, with pit toilets, trash and recycling receptacles, potable water, fire rings, and picnic tables. However, there are no utility hookups or showers. Roadside camping is allowed in designated areas, and Providence Mountain State Recreation Area offers 6 sites on the first-come, first-served basis. For more information, be sure and visit the Mojave Preserve website. Desert tortoises, bighorn sheep, mountain lions, bobcats, roadrunners, golden eagles, Gila monsters, and jackrabbits are just a few of the animals that live in the Mojave Desert. Most wildlife in the park is nocturnal and therefore not readily seen during the day. Whether you're stopping in Primm or going all the way to Las Vegas, for turn-by-turn printable directions, visit the adventure page on travelingwithfrancoise.com. When taking the back roads, there are a few things to remember. The area is patrolled by the police. Cell phone service is spotty in a few areas. Amboy is the only gas station you'll find on the back roads. The roads can be closed from storm damage. Take plenty of water and snacks if you plan on hiking. And don't forget your sense of adventure.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Traveling with Francoise as we took the back roads to Las Vegas through the Mojave National Preserve. So until next time, remember to take your time, look around, explore, and enjoy everything that you see. And remember, it's never too late to get a life.
Hey, want to travel? I'll take you there. Want to dine? I'll tell you where. Play golf? I'll pick the spot. Nightlife? I know it's hot. Want to travel? I'll take you there. Want to dine? I'll tell you where. Play golf? I'll pick the spot. Nightlife? I know it's hot. It's never too late to get a life.